All righty, Roo. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Inside Texas podcast with Mitch and Jeff. And man, there's already a ton of people, more people on now than it's been on Facebook.
Okay, good. So they made the move, huh?
Made the move. And by the way, a couple things. So every week we're going to do the show right here on the webpage or on the YouTube page. You can go directly to YouTube and watch it, and I sent the link out. Or very simply go to the website at gcor1.com and you can watch it there. And then you can actually talk to us as well. So you can talk to us and chat over on the side, which you couldn't do. If you missed the show or somebody wants to watch it, just go to Inside Texas at Inside Texas with Mitch and Jeff. Go there. They're archived. You'll be able to watch them anytime that you want.
Okay,
and
good.
Everything's cool.
And we got a new email address, right?
What's that? I'm sorry?
The email address as well?
Your new email address is InsideTexas24 at gmail.com. InsideTexas24 at gmail.com.
Well, that's easy. Even I can remember that.
Yeah, it's easy. So we're trying to keep everything easy for everybody.
Good.
And give us your feedback on the picture and all that other stuff. I want to know because I'm going to go over. I want to do something real quick on my website. If I can, I'm going to go. I want to just because it's the first time we're doing it. I want to make sure that it's running.
Excellent.
And I'm
new,
sure that it is.
We like new and improved, Jeff. We like upgrading and giving. We're really appreciative of everybody watching and listening and participating and talking about us. It's all about you. It's about getting the information out there that you deserve. If we hear something that is questionable or we hear something that's a rumor or heck, we'll just go to the source, find the source, go to the source and ask because that's where we'll get the right information.
That's exactly right. And very simple. Once again, you can email us at InsideTexas24, which is 2024 this year. So InsideTexas24 at gmail.com. You have a question or a concern or whatever it is, just email us there. And I'm gonna push that more and more on Facebook. And over in George's Jeff LaFleur says looks good, brother. We're on the big screen TV in his living room today. So,
oh wow.
Yeah.
Do we get residual? Do we get royalties for that, Jeff? I mean, is there some being on the big screen? I think we ought to get paid.
Yeah, I think we should charge LaFleur a couple of bucks for being on a 55 or a 70-inch screen or whatever he's watching.
Oh, I bet. And him and his mother, it's got to be an 80-inch or better.
80-inch, yeah, 81 and a half, I think.
Big.
Whatever. Yeah, he's good. But yeah, he's let me know.
I spent the weekend in a conference with his mother. So.
Oh, did you really?
Lions Club, yeah. She's a great. She's a big Lions Club member, and we had our district convention, year-end district convention in Texas City, and she was there and did a great job.
Yeah, awesome. So anyway, on tonight's show. In a little while, we're going to have Jessica Russell from the CDC. She's going to come on and talk about new stuff that's going on here in Bay City.
Right.
And in just a few minutes, we're going to get Jim Mann on to talk about what's going on over in Palacios with the oysters, right?
Oyster hatchery, yes.
Oyster hatchery, yeah. And I know, but believe it or not, when Nate was in, when they opened up the new building over there. I don't know if Jim was there or not. I can't remember because that's many, many years ago when I was the Happy Radio days that they talked about opening up a hatchery right there in Palacios and talked for, it was quite a couple of years back, I think 17 or 18, right when the new pavilion opened up. It was the first time the pavilion opened up. And we catered that. My wife and I catered that event, and we got to sit down and watch everything that was going on. So there was a lot of stuff going on, but I know they were talking about the hatchery. So we're going to get information from Jim here in just a minute. Right. And we always, like I always like to do, like to keep everybody informed on a weather update. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people are concerned. There's just slight chances of rain all the way until we get to next weekend, where we do have a cold front coming through again on late Saturday, early Sunday. Could be severe storms again because the temperature is supposed to go from close to 90 for highs in the lower 70s again. And I could tell you, I saw some damage today, which I was really shocked about. Pastor Ryman, Melly Ryman down there in Wadsworth, his whole front porch got ripped off his whole roof and everything on his house. So it was like,
wow,
unbelievable. Yeah.
Was that the Wednesday morning storm?
That was the storm, the bad storms that we had. Yeah, this past Wednesday. Yeah.
Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah. So
Tuesday night. That was Wednesday morning. Yeah.
Down in Matagorda, I have that little weather station thing there. I'm actually going to have one here, but down in Matagorda, excuse me, recorded winds of 54 miles an hour down there. So they were up there, and we know that Wadsworth had close to 70-mile-an-hour straight line winds going through there because it knocked a lot of stuff out and some power for folks. But yeah, nothing major going on until the weekend, and Andy and I will keep an eye on it for everybody. We'll let everybody know what's going on.
Well, now Saturday morning's not convenient, Jeff, because we've got our tree sale Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, I think you're going to be good on Saturday morning. It's going to be late Saturday into Sunday.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, we'll be out of there by then.
And the other thing is, you can go to the website, GCOR.com, and it has everything on there from the National Weather Service, the Hurricane Center, the Tropical Storm Center, tropical tidbits, everything, including radar, is on there. Tide conditions for here. The Galveston Weather Radio is on there as well. So everything is on. It's like a one-stop shop.
And the webcam, you got a webcam down from Matagorda, right?
Yes, and the webcam down in Matagorda, yes.
Okay, good.
Grace, hey, how are you doing? Hello. So, but anyway, that's what we got going on. So right now, Mitch, if you want to introduce who we got coming up with us right now.
Come on.
Go ahead.
This is Jim Mann. He is with the Palacios Hatchery. Jim, tell us what your official title and the official PMAR, is that right?
Yeah, the acronym is PMAR.
PMAR.
It stands for Palacios Marine Agricultural Research, Inc.
Got it.
And we are very heavily focused on oysters initially, but we're actually an agricultural research organization that is not limited to the oyster. That just happens to be the species that requires the most attention, especially to get our bay health restored back to what many people remember as the good old fishing days when you could see through the water and sort of sight cast into reds and specks.
Well, Jim, when we had lunch the other day, I was very, very intrigued with your background. You're a real estate agent, come into Palacios and had this, I guess, a midlife crisis maybe, but now you're the executive director of this organization, right?
So I'm the new CEO, and I have been brought in to help the organization move to the next level. And you're absolutely right. Just prior to this, I was enjoying what I would call my retired life, doing a little bit of real estate, coming down to Palacios, enjoying the bay, doing some volunteer work with the library, and this opportunity presented itself. My background is actually finance in corporate America. Originally came to Texas to work for Enron and ultimately became the VP of Financial Planning and Analysis at Calpine, which, if you're not familiar, is a very large power generation company.
Yes.
And had enjoyed my retired life, but this opportunity is just too incredible what this nonprofit is attempting to accomplish, not just for Palacios, but for the entire Texas coast.
Well, we are famous that when we get somebody new in town, we just load them up and let them carry the load for us sometimes. But I'm intrigued with what you said about water quality. So remind us that oysters have a way of filtering the water.
Oysters are nature's water filters.
Okay.
They feed constantly. mouths gape open, and they're absorbing nutrients from the water. But in that process, they're also taking detritus out of the water. They're taking algae out of the water. A healthy oyster population will reduce algae blooms, and an algae bloom is caused primarily by too much nitrate and phosphorus coming off the land and growing. And an oyster would be the vehicle to remove that from the water. And the common saying is that one oyster can filter 50 gallons of water a day.
Wow.
And if you go on YouTube and Google, oysters cleaning water, you will find a number of videos showing a dirty tank of water that suddenly is made clean after a certain period of time. And that's not our only goal. The oyster does a lot more for the bays than just clean the water, but that is certainly a very important goal for fishermen, beachgoers, boaters. It also has the benefit of reducing sediment so that seagrasses can grow a little easier. Right now the sunlight has a hard time getting through the entire water column, and cleaner waters really lead to a surprising amount of recovery of health in our bay system.
Well, I think it's interesting and very, very excited. So you and this organization, of all the locations, this could have really been anywhere, right, Jim? But because of the uniqueness and the location of Palacios, tell us a little bit about why Palacios was picked.
Well, there's quite a lot of reasons. First is Matagorda Bay, as far as the bay systems go, is a little more stable salinity-wise. We tend to have we don't seem to have the same periods of significant freshwater inflows or significant drought. But then, Palacios sort of sits at a real nice nexus between San Antonio, Austin, Houston. We're roughly 2 to 3 hours from any location.
Right.
The community itself has a very developed seafood industry. There's a significant amount of aquaculture already located in Palacios. There's a significantly sized shrimp fleet located in Palacios. And so when you think about starting an industry, what we really do is we're the fuel to get the oyster farming industry going and oyster restoration growing. Palacios kind of fits a lot of the pieces.
I think that's excellent. And I know you're into many things, but you've got this plan, this desire to build a new scientific facility. After visiting with you at lunch, and then I was at the meeting on Tuesday night with the city council and the zoning committee. What was the value of that proposed building? Did I ever hear that?
Well, what I would say is it's still in the preliminary design phase, but order of magnitude, my best guess would be $10 million facility. Yeah. We're talking about a marine science center that would be on par with the Texas State Aquarium or other large marine research production organizations. I mean, we are talking a substantial investment in Matagorda County and in the town of Palacios.
I think that is neat. Just looking at and first of all, congratulations for the design. I think it's a beautiful design. I think it'll work perfectly in the Palacios area, and I'm looking forward to the city council or the zoning or whatever next steps are to be able to allow that. I will congratulate you for one thing. Tuesday night, after all the speakers had spoke, and I'm guessing 30, 40 speakers, not one person was negative about your plans. They had some questions about the building, but as far as the hatchery itself, the oyster hatchery and the science and the education that's going to go in to that facility, not one person was against that. And Jim, I think that says a lot to do with the way you've been laying this project out, the support that hopefully our elected officials are giving you, and the opportunity. Talk a little bit about the tourism opportunities of this facility.
Well, I'll give you a rundown of the goal of this facility.
Yeah.
It's a 3-story building where the 3rd story is an open air event space that'll have a kitchen. Bathrooms will be usable, by folks in Palacios, nonprofits in Palacios. But, I think given its location close to the water and the views that it'll have, it'll probably bring people from, other communities, El Campo, Bay City, Victoria, just a substantial building. And the interior will be open for tours, be open for educational opportunities, will provide, it's not quite an aquarium. We don't have fancy fish and beautiful jellyfish, but we're gonna have operating production for initially oysters, but there's no limit on the marine species that we may attempt to bring back to our Texas coast. Okay. And we also hope to bring in visiting scientists from all over the nation at a minimum, but potentially all over the world, because we want to create a facility that typically is only found in a university setting. And it's challenging to use because there's certain restrictions when you go on a university and use their facilities and use their equipment. We are trying to shortcut that, provide that level of capacity here on the Texas coast where there really isn't that type of substantial investment, and make that available to Texans, Matagordians, Palacians. It's going to be an outstanding building.
The reason I jumped on real quick, I think one of the pluses for this is education for kids to understand. Adults always look at something like this and go, "Oh well, you know how it is here," but it's spending the money on something. No. I think there's a great thing for education of our kids for the future, for saving our oceans and saving, the oyster population and stuff. This past year, just oystering alone, I know that was a big issue that was going on because it was limited to such a small time and a small area. And I know from talking to some of the guys that go oystering, it was a huge issue. And I don't know, Jim, were you there a few years back when you guys talked about that with Nate?
I have only been in Palacios since 2020. I'm one of the COVID refugees that
there you go.
Went to the coast to.
We got to ship them back, Mitch. We got to ship them back. That's it.
I've tried to earn my place here. I've volunteered quite a bit, and of course now I'm the CEO of this organization, and I feel like I'm paying my dues to earn my spot in the city.
He's getting close, Jeff. He's getting close. Now, I will tell you a funny story, Jeff. He actually bought Nate's house in Palacios, so there is a connection.
That's true.
He did, huh? Oh, wow. Well, are the ceilings 12 foot high? Because, he's like 9 foot.
For
a man of his stature, I'm surprised if he didn't make more changes to the house.
Jeff's pretty tall. Jim's pretty tall, Jeff.
Is he? Okay, well, I'm thinking there was a pickleball court in the backyard or something. I'm thinking that's what I was thinking.
He was big in paddleboarding.
Jim, another quick question, and then I'll let you go.
No, it's fine.
So, with you working on this, is the National Oceanography Association? What is it?
NOAA. NOAA.
NOAA. Are they working with you guys?
Not specifically the organization, but we are reaching into NOAA to speak with scientists that are up in the Chesapeake Bay system. Texas is the last state to come into aquaculture activity. And so there is a lot of people ahead of us, a lot of states ahead of us that have done some groundbreaking work on reef restoration, oyster hatchery operations, oyster farming operations. And so we are taking advantage and reaching out to the scientific community and asking for assistance. And everyone has been very generous with their time and their own efforts in solving the oyster reef problems in their own communities. And this is a global problem. Oyster stocks are down, anywhere from 80% worldwide, with ranges of that at different bay systems. So this is a profound problem across the globe.
Now, one thing, Jim, I was very
like I said, we noticed that. we noticed that, like I said, last year with the oystering and stuff, it was a very, very tough for the guys that need to make money off of the oyster.
Well, the challenge for these oyster fishermen now is your Parks and Wildlife is shutting down reefs because they're not healthy enough to sustain additional dredging, but there's no limit on where a dredger can go. So what has happened as a result, if you drive over the Port Lavaca Bridge, you'll see, a concentration of oystermen and women over reefs, trying to earn their living, which is their right to do. Our hope is that we can introduce them to the economics of oyster farming, and we could get them to consider a different means of still working the water and still earning a good living that doesn't involve the overuse of our public reef system.
Right, exactly.
So Jeff, and I think some of these baby oysters can go into reefs, but the idea right now is for farming these along the Palacios coast, right, Jim?
Yeah, well, actually, the whole Matagorda Bay system and a lot of the Corpus Christi and San Antonio Bay systems.
Oh,
right now, there are, don't quote me specifically, but there's 18 permitted or near permitted oyster ranches representing something around 124 acres of water that can have an oyster in it. And if you assume 250,000 oysters per acre, you're talking about 33 million oysters in the water, which makes a big difference and is a good start. And I would tell you, we're only in year 2.
Right.
This industry is in its infancy. PMAR is in its infancy. We are going to get bigger together in a way that will, provide a lot more visibility to our bay systems and the even the oyster industry. Our history in Texas is a fried oyster or an oyster on a cracker with horseradish and cocktail sauce. We're not as adept in understanding the different flavor profiles that are out there, and PMAR aims to change a lot of that.
Once they're put in the water, what's the gestation period on them that they can be harvested?
The period of time is roughly a year. Some can go a little faster. You'll find that not every oyster grows at the same speed.
Right.
And compare that to the Northeast where they do aquaculture, it takes them about 3 years. So we have a real advantage in growing time. We have warmer waters, more nutrients in the waters. The challenges we run into in that they don't is it's a shallow bay system. So if a storm comes in, it's very destructive, or if a strong wind comes in, it's destructive. And in the summer, our waters get pretty hot, and that can be very stressful on the oysters.
Right.
And I was impressed with the numbers, Jim. At full production, you're looking at a significant increase in, I'm going to say, baby oysters.
Yeah, baby oysters is a perfect way to think of them. And I just had this conversation this morning with some other folks. When we get this full marine facility built and operating at full capacity, along with our other assets, we're hoping to be in the 4 billion a year production range.
Wow.
And, 4 billion oysters going in the water in one form or another every year for 10 years, we're going to start to tip the point of oysters being able to self-sustain and reefs to come back. Now, a lot of that depends on collaboration with partners. We need to collaborate with Parks and Wildlife on rules and regulations. And, there's an ample amount of individuals out there and entities trying to do reef restoration. And I'd like to work with the oyster dredging organization. I want them to have a viable fishery as well. And so there's lots of room for us to be partners and assist others in their own endeavors as it relates to the oyster fishery.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, on behalf of Matagorda County folks, we appreciate you picking Palacios. We appreciate the way that you're coming in to the community. I think it's full knowledge, no secrets. The public hearing the other day in Palacios was eye-opening. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. I think there were probably, I'm an outsider looking in, right? I just drove over after my board meeting, and I got there a few minutes late. I didn't get to hear DC's presentation. I heard yours. So it sounded to me like there's a lot of confusion within the community. And I appreciate the way you're going about educating them. I know we were talking about your hatchery, and all of a sudden they started talking about condos and blocking the view of the bay. And I was having a hard time sitting in the back trying to put the puzzle pieces back together. Was that like I said, I didn't hear one person have a complaint about the hatchery. Is that the takeaway that you heard? Was that meeting, did that go kind of like you wanted?
Well, for better or worse, we live in the age of social media where misinformation is allowed to run rampant.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think a lot of the concerns I hear, in my opinion, are unfounded because they're not tied to what we're trying to do. And, you're referring to the Pearl of Palacios PUD meeting, where the city and the Economic Development Council of Palacios and the Ed Rochelle Foundation have come together to identify a narrow set of waterfront properties that they want to have different zoning regulations under.
Yeah.
And they've identified, I want to say it's 8 or 9 projects, of which, the Marine Science Center that we're hoping to construct would be one of them.
Yes.
And the fear is that, we'll build something that the town doesn't know we're going to build it and it won't be approved. But the truth is, the only things in the PUD are what was proposed, and anything new would still have to come forward as a new proposal, even if it's in the PUD. You still go through the normal permit process. You still go through the normal review process. This is not creating a vehicle by which we can come in the dark of night and put up, 35-foot townhomes. I think there's a resistance in Palacios, and I'm only there for 4 years, so I can't speak to it as long as some other residents can.
Right.
But there's a real resistance to growth that, for me, is counterintuitive when you want your streets to be repaired and you want the lights to work and you want city services to function. I have a philosophy of you grow or you die. I mean, you can't restrict people from coming in and trying to earn a living in the community. It makes it impossible to, grow your tax base. It makes it impossible to provide services. And, I'll be honest, Palacios has won the lottery, and I don't understand why they don't see it. I think there is 1,000 towns on the coast of Texas that would beg us to come, locate our facilities there and explain to us why that's the better location.
Well, you need to watch this show more often because we talk about that. You repeat what we say just about every week. Without growth, there's no growth.
Jim, I will tell you, one of the reasons we started this podcast is just to debunk the craziness. That's why we call it True Texas.
Nice.
And the other part is trying to convince people that, because this is literally the deal. And I was listening, and there were several that said that. So they want nothing to change. They want everything to stay the same, even though there's people moving off and dying, and yet they don't want their taxes to go up. And they continue to want new and exciting things, but they don't want it to change. And you're right. It's as unrealistic as it can be. But you have to honor those folks and their wishes. I will tell you, Palacios is unique. It really is. But we heard the same things in Matagorda with a bond issue to increase the size of the pleasure port down in Matagorda. Sargent did the same thing. I remember a young lady, we were going to put a mobile kiosk down there to promote tourism. And there was a lady told me she didn't want any tourism. That they bought down there at the end of the street so they could be left alone, and they didn't want a bunch of businesses coming in, and of course the business owners, that's not what they say. They want more and more of business, but
and the voices that speak the loudest and the most negative are not necessarily reflective of the community, but they've got the time and the money to create confusion.
That's right. And some of
I just trust the elected officials. The city council was voted in. They have the information. I trust them to make the decision they think is in the best interest of the community. And the next meeting is the 25th, which would be the second reading of the PUD, which would be the vote that would allow it to actually be formed. And then there's a series of technical things that follow. I'm not super familiar with municipal code and government, and so I would encourage everyone to come and voice their support for creating an area of the waterfront that would allow Palacios to finally develop and bring in some new investment and some new business and new jobs, and help the city continue to exist.
So what I hear from Jim is he's going to be running for president in 2028.
Oh man, there you go.
I hear it, and I'll vote for him.
All right.
Well, let me get this building constructed and operating, and let me connect with all the local school systems, and then we'll talk.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much for your time and the information. Very, very informative. And I just want to thank you for putting us on the map again. But let us know how we can help you move this hatchery and many other scientific projects forward.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the invite. I enjoyed it. This is my first video podcast, and it was quite fun.
Well, you did quite well.
Good
Cheers.
job.
Good night, gentlemen.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you. There you go, brother.
All right. I think it's funny too, Jeff. You remember years ago we had an opportunity to move a floating replica of Noah's Ark, the biblical Noah's Ark, and it was over in Denmark or somewhere overseas. Anyway, we had an opportunity to bring it. We were about $1 million short of what we needed, maybe 600,000. And we just couldn't get the community of Palacios that said it might change the face of Palacios. And I thought, for the better. Of course it would. But we ended up, I forget who got it. I think Israel got it.
I would love to see a floating replica of the ship that sunk in Matagorda Bay, the one they have all this stuff.
Yeah.
That would be really, really cool. They did that, Plymouth Rock. They have the Mayflower. They got the Mayflowers and stuff up there, replicas of them. Right. That's one of the most visited places. I mean, it's really
they have a scaled model of the labelle in Palacios, but it's a lot smaller.
Smaller, yeah. I've seen it. It's in the museum there, isn't it?
No, it actually floats.
Okay.
There was a guy actually constructed a miniature scale. Now the what's in the museum is very important. That's actually the labelle that came out of the mud,
right?
When they built the coffer dam out there, and that's actually a real piece. We have to protect it because there's other museums want to take it away from them.
Yeah. All right.
But this is a good thing, and we need to help support them.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is. All right. Next up the bat, playing center field, coming in at I don't know what 5'5", 5'6". I don't even know, Jessica. I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure your height or anything. 5'5". Okay, so 5'5". Playing for the Houston Astros, Jessica Russell, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay!
Thanks for having me.
Did you get to feed the kids?
I fed the kids. We just came in from baseball practice. Maine smashed his finger, but had an infield home run, so that was worth it.
Well, that heals right away. That's what happens.
Never dull. Never dull.
Yeah, I know it never happens.
How's your finger, Jessica? How's your broken finger? She had a broken finger, Jeff. Okay.
It's better.
All right.
Goodness.
Oh. Man, I hate to go to work and hammer the stuff down, the stapler on your finger.
Oh, God. No, she has a better story, Jeff.
I'm sure she does.
It involves one of her kids.
Oh.
And I heard swinging a bat. It may have been a shoe, but
it was
my version is a kid was swinging a bat at her.
Just right. It hit just right.
I'll tell you all a real quick story. Speaking of fingers and knuckles. So a friend of mine was the chief of police up there in Jewett, Texas. He passed away from COVID back in 2020. But great guy. We were good friends. And Brian was about 4 years old, couldn't be 5 years old. And we're up there at the Jewett, the flea market that they have going on there. And me and the chief used to mess around all the time. And that's why I was doing radio up there in Madisonville.
Okay.
So we're walking around and Chief Brian asked him what that stick was at the side of his butt. It's one of those, the batons they use now that open up, and you take it and you hit that. And he hands it to Brian and he points to my knees. He goes, "Yeah, right there. That's where you got to get him. That's where you got to get him." And I said, "Don't do it, Brian. Don't do it." And the chief goes, "Yeah, go ahead, get him. And the chief starts running away. Brian goes to hit me, and I put my hand down right across my knuckles, man. They just swelled up. I chased the chief around when it was full. I mean, that flea market was full. So you see a big fat guy like me chasing the chief of police. Crazy. It was nuts. But I couldn't do that to Brian. He was too young. But I did get the chief back. I flattened all 4 of his tires on his car. So it was good.
There you go.
Let the air out of his tires. Right. But anyway, Jessica's got some exciting news. You two take it away. Go for it.
Jessica, first of all, it's thank you for allowing me to be on your team. It's exciting to watch you go to work, and it's exciting every day with all the excitement. I know you've got 100 things you can't talk about, but you've got a couple of things that you can talk about.
And I want to share them with y'all first. Mitch, I return the sentiment. Love working with you. I love sharing information and signing NDAs with you all the time. It's super fun.
Right.
But 2 things I can talk about is our board on the CDC decided they wanted to adapt 2 new programs for current business owners and future business owners. And the first one I want to tell you about is a continuing education grant. Okay. So we saw the need to help businesses retain their employees and invest in their employees. Okay. So we've got a $500 grant. It's up to 3 different employees, $500 apiece, that you can send away for continuing education, do their applications and their entrance fees, or you can combine that and bring somebody in to do consulting, to teach to your entire staff. Okay. And that's available to every business. Things that come to mind. If you own a nail salon, there's a new technique that you want them to learn. Well, this should help you send them to class. As far as like cross training, if Schulman's wanted to bring in somebody for hospitality, then they could train their whole class and help put them up. So that one we're really proud of, and it's ready to go. Our apps are on our website, or you can just call our office. The other application is for videography. It's for commercials. We want to do a 15 to 30 minute commercial for your business. You have to use a local videographer. I know that Pelican Studios is one I know about. And if you know of more, that's what makes them eligible. I know that Pelican Studios has also worked with my funding opportunity, and they will get you one for essentially $500. So you're getting a free commercial.
Wow. I love that.
So very excited about that. And what we
Donna Hewitt is involved in that, is she not?
Yes, yeah. She's Pelican Studios.
Okay. And by the way, just to let you know, and I'm glad Donna's doing this, because years ago I did it. I had a production studio that I did, and I've done WWE. My wife and I were the producers of Swamp People for the History Channel for the first 2 years. So we are buying. My wife approved it. I had to get it approved from my wife. We are approved. And I just talked to Mitch just a few minutes ago that we want people to know outside of Matagorda County about the businesses, the small businesses that are here, like the little side restaurants and stuff like that. So I am going to put together a little video, a few minute video of each business that wants to participate in for free. And then we're going to run it up here on our YouTube page, and that'll run 24 hours.
That's
a day.
amazing. I think we can have too much publicity.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think so too. There's a lot of people that don't know. They zip through here at night going to Matagorda to go fishing, but they don't know, they stay here for a couple of days, but they don't know what's going on in Bay City or in Palacios or Sargent or wherever. So we're gonna try to get with these small businesses and start just sort of exactly what you're doing there. And I just told this just a few minutes ago that we're gonna go in there and just build them up, do a 2 to 3 minute video, edit it down, and then hey, this is one of the stores here in Bay City, chat with the owner. This is what we do here, like the chocolate or, a burlap sack or, anybody, the restaurants, little restaurants.
Absolutely. Yeah. We really want this to hit our downtown, but it's not exclusive to downtown.
Right.
Something that came out of that is when we came out of session and they found out that we were doing this, I called tourism and I said, hey, you should put together something similar for events. That way we can make live, work, and play videos that we can just showcase everything that Bay City has to offer.
Fantastic.
Exactly. And I went to school for all this crap, and I've never really lived up to the potential. I fix more lawnmowers than I do video, and I did, just whatever. But old WWF stuff that we used to produce and stuff, yeah. And you can watch me get my butt handed to me on YouTube during the wrestling. Just by the way, it's on there. Jeff the Madman Michaels, you can go watch it. It's on there. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I always thought ever since I came down here, Jesse, just like you did. I know when you moved from the medical, the medical stuff to what you're doing
from MEHOP,
yeah. So from MEHOP to what you're doing now, I always thought you'd be great at it because I know you, the way you talk and the way you reach out, you're not afraid to, you got to. I always tell everybody, if you want to be and do public things, you got to be an idiot like me and walk up to him and go, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. And talk. And you do it. Mitch does it. We all do it.
Well,
and that's the kind of people that are going to get this place in motion. And you can see Bay City moving faster now from when I first got here. Things are changing. Things are happening. The people that I got to know, the new Mitch, what's the new the guy that's working on the streets and stuff like that here, the new
Public Works Director.
Public Works Director's been here 3 or 4 times, and he said there's a lot of work here, but man, he's staying on it with the stuff that he has.
Absolutely. Herb is doing a great job. Bristol is doing a great
awesome job. And I told him,
I like to call it sustainable growth.
Yeah.
Yes, there's going to be 3,000 people here when we build HIF, but we want these things for our current residents as much as we want them for our future. So I think we make a pretty good case. And I actually go to Vegas in June to continue to recruit.
Speaking of that, tell us again about the marshals coming in. I know that hadn't got total. Where is that going?
Turned in their electrical permit, so that's great news. Los Cucos, I went and took a tour of that facility. It was absolutely amazing. It's like their flagship restaurant, and we're actually working with them. We want to get a playground there. So when you're eating your queso and drinking your margaritas or whatever, you can watch your kids play and they have something to do. You see that at restaurants and larger towns, and the CDC wants to collaborate with them to bring that to them.
Jessica, that's a great idea. I know there's one of my kids and grandkids' favorite place has that playground, and that's why they pick it, is so the kids
it's a game changer for me.
Great idea. That is great.
So hopefully we can solidify that. I've sent them a couple plans for playgrounds. It's a personal thing that I want to make it ADA accessible so that there's not one kid that's left out. All the age groups are covered. And they've got plenty of parking, so we can make that happen. Good
deal. And tell me again about. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, go ahead, Mitch. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Tell me again about your Chat and Chew. Did I get the name right over at Schulman's? Something to chew on. That's exactly right.
Yeah, we've got a Van Vliet graduate. I actually went to high school with her, and I saw her at the Bay City Career Fair, and she's like, oh, this is what I do. And I'm like, we have to have you come talk.
Yeah.
Every HR department in this town needs to be there. And we've gotten really good feedback from the industry, But I mean, it's for anybody that wants to learn about women in industry, because I know that's something they're all trying to tackle.
Remind me the date.
You would do that to me right now.
I know. I'm sorry, and I didn't want to.
May. We've got a little time.
May 8th.
May 8th. Yes.
I think it's Shulman. May 8th. It's from 12 to 1. I know we talked about it. Lunch. Yeah. So, great job. Okay. And we've got, I know Tenaris is sending people. I talked to Matt, and he was very, very complimentary. He said he wanted in on this. I just think it's so important. Now, this lady is famous, right? She spoke at Corpus Christi. She's spoke recently at the Chemical Council in Brazoria County.
Yes, and she's a mom, and she's worked in industry, so she knows what it takes to do both. Okay.
Well, we're excited. I know all of the industry partners are looking at diversity and making sure that everybody is well represented in the workforce. So congratulations. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Don't tell us anything proprietary, but tell us something nobody else knows that you can just share right now. Is there anything out there that comes to mind?
That playground is pretty new. Nobody knows about the
playground. Okay. And can I ask about the Seven Pies building? Are we allowed to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I jumped on for. That's why I jumped on, because I wanted to put the rest. That they said a Church's Chicken is going back in Seven Pies.
It is a Church's Chicken.
Okay, there you go.
It is. I didn't know if we were ready to talk about it, Justin.
Yeah, we can talk about it. Permit.
I was driving to College Station, and I drove through Brenham, and they had a Church's, and I thought, no, wait a minute. I thought they closed all of them. So congratulations. Getting it back.
That was good. And they don't, and something else people don't know is they don't own that parking lot next to it.
Yes.
So I've been in talks with some proprietors of different businesses. So something else may come in there. We don't know yet. That's still
that's on the opposite side than the Little Caesars. So the parking lot you're talking about is right off the road.
Right.
Right on the corner. Okay. Well, that was interesting to find out that they didn't own that.
Yeah. When I was doing my research and trying to figure out who had the original Church's, I found that out. It was owned by like 3 women in town. And I'm like, the more you know.
And let's see, what else was I going to ask you about? Of course, Chick-fil-A doing great gang up business, very, very popular. Kudos for you and your board for bringing them on board. You can't believe everywhere I go and I say, well, Bay City's got a Chick-fil-A, and they go, well, you got it. I don't even have a Chick-fil-A. So congratulations.
If any of them are listening right now, they are jealous.
I know, that's exactly, and I like them jealous, to be honest. But I love it that you're so active, so enthusiastic. Like you said, you'll be going to is it still the International Shopping Centers Conference?
Yeah, ICSC, International Council of Shopping Centers. And we try to go every year. I usually take a realtor with me. This year I'm going solo. But we've got some new recruitment tactics we're going to start running out. Because, we're a staff of like 2.5.
Yeah.
So technically 3 of us, but I mean, it's a small shop for what we've been able to undertake. We just have such a supportive board, and then people like you and Mike Ferdinand and the judge and just a host of other people that make this tick.
And tell us updates on our housing. I know you're the housing czar. We've named you. You probably don't like it, but we've named you the housing czar. And so tell us a little bit about houses. I understand there's some already being built.
Oh, there's some that'll be done in 30 days in Valor Park.
Yeah.
Okay. I
read that on Lynn Group's page, which is astounding. I mean, and I get to drive by it pretty frequently with baseball season underway. So I just get these updates. They used both builders in there, and the developer used everything local they possibly could. Local realtors, local mortgage companies. I mean, they're really trying to go local. Russell Ranch with Jim Maddox is finishing up on the roads. Thank you for everybody for being patient when they finished out the connecting street to 7th. Bold Fox should be breaking ground any day now.
Yeah.
And then I'm constantly getting apartments or multifamily living opportunities that have come across my desk. And obviously a lot of people wanting to look into what we can do for that transient population that comes in when these plants, like Rome right now has like 600 to 800 people on site. You don't know that they're here, but I've seen them at the rodeo. I saw them. I see them at Fat Grass. I see them at restaurants. Like, it's a huge boost to our economy to have them here.
Absolutely.
Just a quick question for you. Not something you're working on, but what would you like to see as far as retail goes in either Bay City or Matagorda County? Is there something out there that, I know there's a lot of needs and wants for, different businesses. And
no, that's a great question. Because mostly what I handle is quality of life, right? I want you to not have to leave here and go to Houston to shop.
Right.
Some holes, some leakage that I see, shoes, men's clothing, which I think Marshalls will handle a lot of that. TNT does a great job of handling men's clothing, but that's particular occasions or jeans. I need other options for our residents. Shoes would be a good thing. I'd like another couple sit down restaurants. Chick-fil-A was the holy grail of QSRs, which are quick serve restaurants. Personally would like to see a Panda Express. I told everybody I'm retiring, but I finally
you have made that your life's quest.
What is it that you want to say?
They are not returning my calls.
Oh gosh. A Panda Express, Jeff. Panda Express.
Oh, there you go.
I like it. My needs are simple. I've gotten a lot of feedback online for Mr. Gaddy's when they saw the line around the Victoria one open. And I told guys, pump the brakes. Let them open their doors and it die down, and then I'll go after them. No problem.
Yeah.
I'm not going to not try.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are driving up to El Campo to Mr. Gotti's.
Yeah.
Was there one here at one time?
Yes, there was.
There was one here at one time?
Oh, yeah.
It was
at Madagorda Plaza.
Gotcha.
And that owner has done a lot to put a lot of money in that, hadn't they, Jessica?
Absolutely. Phil has been a blessing to our community with getting that thing back up and running. And Ace Hardware is proof that if you hire good people, they'll stay. And I mean, I've not met friendlier service.
Right.
So they're here. That. We have them.
And very, very, very knowledgeable. I went in with I forget now what I was looking for, but buddy, they were scouring the shelves with me.
Yes.
So
there's one on every aisle, I think.
It goes back to what I said before. What I tried to do when I had my restaurants, or I was at Schulman, was to training, making people aware that when they're there, of the product that they're selling or the product that they have, being able to communicate with the customer and ask a question. Don't stand there and go, I don't know, and walk away. Just educating the people at the businesses that they're at. First of all, if it's a restaurant, educating wait staff or bartenders on things that you have and things that you cook and things that you make. When that customer asks a question, what I always call it was a tip table, or a wow factor. You pull up to the building, wow. You walk into the building, wow. The service, wow. But you get a whole wow. You're going to be positive all the time. Now you can't do that for a week and then back off. You have to do that all the time.
Yeah, and that's why I really wanted to come on here and announce those grants, because that's exactly what we're talking about. If you want to get a hospitality person in to sit everybody down, you can now.
And management is the key. Good management is the key to successful people. So if the managers are aware of A through Z, and the wait staff only needs to know A through D, they need to know it. They need to know all four corners of it. I'm a big stickler about that. And Mitch, that when the Small Business Administration was here before he left, he gave me every one of his books. It said, you need to go out there and do it. We tried doing that years ago, where we're going to have the, customer service training. and it was tough. It was hard. Mitch and I tried to put that together. Nobody was interested. They're like, oh, well, no, we're good. You know, and a lot of businesses fail because of it. Applebee's was a big one, you know, and they called me in and said, well, what do you think the problem is? And they don't want to hear the problem. You know, they don't want to hear what you need to tell them. But if everybody, you know, anyway, if the management is educated and be able to sit down and talk to the people who want to work, you're going to be very, very successful. I'm a tough person to work for. People will tell you out there I'm a tough person. I have a way that I'd like to have it done. And I think if everybody was like that, and especially in Bay City, we would jump from, you know, Y to A very quick. It just, you know, with all the businesses. I mean, Chick-fil-A, for example, Jessica, you know this. I mean, they have a strict standard on how they do things. You know, and I don't see why every business couldn't be that way. I mean, they're successful. You know,
Jessica, real quick, tell us how to get in touch with you now. So you're give us your address, your location, telephone number.
Okay. I'm 1112 7th Street, so on the left side of the library. Okay. You can also reach Main Street there and Matagorda County EDC. We all house together. Yeah. My number is 979-245-8081. Okay. And our website is www.baycitytxcdc.net.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We really do appreciate. Thank you for your hard work every day.
Yeah, and I got to ask you a favor.
Yes.
Can I when I get breaking news, can I break it here first?
Absolutely. We love it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's only going to cost you $29.95, but we'll be able to do it. That's it. We're going to make sure.
And Jessica, we don't even have to wait for a Monday at 7. If we've got something breaking, we can actually jump in and do it then, and then follow up on Monday. So yes, you keep my number on speed dial, and you got it. We're right here. We're going to announce it first here.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank y'all for the opportunity.
And thank you for taking time. And thank you for taking time away from your family.
It's okay. We
really appreciate you.
All right. Thank y'all. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. There you go.
Jeff, I'm telling you, she's hard working.
Man. That's actually you got to. Once you're driving that nail, you got to keep driving that nail. You can't say, well, it's ain't good enough, you know. And I know Jessica's not that person to say, well, that's good enough. You're going to go the way that it needs to go.
She accomplishes something, and the next is what's next? What's next? Right. You know, a lot of people that hang their career on a Chick-fil-A. Are you kidding me? Yeah. But no, I mean, she's driven. She's energetic. She's just what we need.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And I enjoy working with her and her and Mike Ferdinand as well. We'll have Mike back on. I didn't invite him back on today. I don't know that he's got a lot that he's ready to announce. He's working on probably, I'm not kidding, he's probably working on 30 projects in anything stages from waiting on permits, waiting on the 403 application with the comptroller's office for school abatements. There's just that. I mean, there's just, and then those that just call up and go, "Hey, we're interested." So, I will put something at the forefront, Jeff. I just want people to be aware, and I know we've got to close. We need to be mindful of the Highland Lakes levels. I am afraid that we went through this drought period where LCRA cut off our ag producers in 2011. We are now going into the second year of them curtailing agricultural water. They call that interruptible water contracts. But if we don't get substantial rains in the Highland Lakes recharge zone, I think we're going to have some even more significant cutbacks. there's a deal called drought worse than the drought of record, and the drought of record was in 1950. And I just want us to be. There's nothing we can do about it. It is what it is. It's up to God to fill those lakes up. Going into and this is going to sound horrible, Jeff, but going into a tropical storm hurricane season could benefit us if a storm went inland and filled up the lakes. But they are dangerously low, Jeff, dangerously low. The magic number is 600 feet in Lake Travis, and when that happens, it falls below that, we will enter drought worse than the drought of record. And we're at the end of the line. So we're at the end of the river basin.
Well, just to give you an update, this is supposed to be a very, very active year as far as tropical storms and hurricanes go. More than normal. When you get the weather service, and Andy and I were talking about it, do you know that the Atlantic is as warm as it normally is in July now? Yeah. So it's very, very warm. And the southern Gulf of Mexico and stuff, you're talking temperatures in the mid 80s, close to hit 90 already. Yeah. So, you know, we got to watch. We got to watch that. I've been out there in the hill country and seen some of those lakes. And I didn't even know there was supposed to be a lake there. It just looked like a little pond. And when the guy told me, he says, "Oh yeah, this is supposed to be all water, as far as you can see here." Lake Travis, especially, just terrible. And you know, when you get people send me pictures down from those places, and you can see the boat docks and all this, it's horrible. It really, really is bad. And if this continues with the LCRA stuff and that, we might have to think of an alternative way to get water to where we need to get it to. That's going to be a super huge costly thing. Yeah, big time money. And there are countries that have done it that turn salt water into regular water. You know, but you know, we just need Mother Nature to do her job in Central Texas. You know, so
I had that conversation. So we were talking about the cost of desalination and the cost of transporting it. And I asked them, I said, okay, you're comparing it to the cost of LCRA water. What if you compare the cost of desalination water to no water at all? And they went, oh, well, that puts it in a whole new perspective. Yeah, the other thing, just to keep in mind, top of mind, if I understand right, the electrical grid is getting worried about later in this week and next week. There are some of the power plants, including our own South Texas plant, that's down for refueling. Some are down for maintenance. So I understand that ERCOT has issued an advisory, not a warning. So pay attention to that. Pay attention. This water issue is going to affect our economy. It's going to severely affect, and I'm afraid, and so is Mike Ferdinand, that the drought will also affect the future projects looking at us. Yes. If we can't demonstrate that we can provide them with water, they may pick somewhere else. So just a couple of things in closing, Jeff. I know we're running late.
All right, go ahead.
But thanks for a great show tonight, and I can't wait to see the show on the new venue.
Yeah, on YouTube, and just let everybody know every week we're right here at www.gcor1.com. That stands for Gulf Coast One Radio. And if you would like to be a sponsor to this show, and on the website, and on the radio, which the radio I have it turned off right now, and I'll put it back on here in a few minutes. On the website, you can go to Gulf Coast One Radio. 24 hours a day, we monitor the weather and do live updates, and it'll be on the radio. Music from the 50s all the way up until the 90s, 2000s with country music and classic rock and oldies and everything. We're getting ready to set up an oldie show for a Saturday night. We used to do it many years ago, all request oldie show
Oh
online.
boy.
Rusty Bucket is coming back. So Rusty Bucket is coming back to the show on a Saturday night. All requests live.
It's been years since he showed up.
Yeah, he's around here somewhere. I've seen him with his overalls on and everything.
All right.
Yeah, a lot of folks asked about that, so we're going to get that back up on the air as well. See, the nice thing about us, we don't need a radio tower to entertain. We can get out across the world just like this, and I hope everybody follows us.
Yeah,
we have some new sponsors coming on.
Good.
So we're going to take care of them, plus 99 million other things we're planning on doing.
I know, right? And we have a new email. Do it again. Texas, Inside Texas 24 at gmail.com.
That's it.
Got it.
Inside Texas 24 at gmail.com. You have any questions, comments? You want to hear somebody? You want to
suggestions? Yeah,
suggestions. Get somebody on the show that you want to talk to. We're going to do it. We're going to have state reps on soon. We're going to have we got to get Jim False back on from the city council. We got to get him on because I owe him a scolding or two for a couple things, but we'll talk about him and a whole lot more people throughout the city. So you want to be a part of the show, just email us InsideTexas24 at gmail.com and we'll make it happen. Thank you, Mitch. On behalf of myself, Jeff Michaels, and the lovely and talented Mitch Thames, thanks for watching Inside Texas live on YouTube right here at GCOR1.com.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.